Hi, I'm Chris Morales, and I'm the owner-operator of Morales Outdoor Living. We specialize in awesome poolscapes, and I am a hardscaper.
Welcome to the I Am a Hardscaper series on the How to Hardscape podcast, where we sit down and interview a hardscape business owner and do a deep dive on how they became a hardscaper and how they operate their business. This is the final week to get your first 3 months at a discounted rate at members.howtohardscape.com. We have a interlocking concrete pavement installation course already up with more than 2 hours of content, more than 20 modules, and we have another course coming out February 1st, the installation of segmental retaining walls, which also has more than 2 hours and 20 modules to go along with it. In addition to that, we've got the end of the year accounting webinar also available there, and many more courses coming throughout the year. So to learn more about that, members.howtohardscape.com and use the promo code podcast to get those initial 3 months at a discounted rate. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. All right, Chris, let's get to know a little bit more about yourself, how you entered the industry. Can you give our audience a little bit of a backstory about how you entered the industry and then leading up to when you decided to first start your own business?
Yeah, okay. So I've been in business for 4 years, and prior to that, I worked at a pool company for about 7 years. And we did everything from installing pools from scratch and plumbing, electrical, all of that came along with it. And then at the end, I was lucky enough to be part of the group that did the hardscapes. So I gained a couple of years of experience there, and after that, I just I saw that I could manage a job, I could get things done, and I just I went for it 4 years ago.
Yeah, so that's interesting right there. Just starting off working for somebody else for a little bit. What made you decide to take that leap of faith and to start your own business? Was it knowing after working for that company that you were capable of doing this on your own? Or did you kind of have an idea from the get-go that you were going to be a business owner eventually doing this?
No, man, I definitely didn't think I didn't have that thought of being a business owner. I was just struggling, man. I was struggling, and I knew I could get stuff done, and I saw an opportunity with, I guess, my skill set to go for it, give it a shot, and I think I was crazy, man. I was crazy back then going for it, but I did it anyways, and here I am.
Nice. I think you have to be a bit crazy to be a business owner.
Yeah, seriously.
In my sense of the word, at least. But getting into this pool company, were they kind of specialized in pools? And then since they wanted to offer like the whole package, got into hardscaping, was that kind of their business model there? And then you came in and learned hardscaping and learned pools and all that?
Yes, so this was a complete turnkey pool company starting from scratch. And there wasn't a lot of hardscapes going on. It's a lot of concrete decking, but every opportunity that we had, I was there, part of the group, and that's where we learned, man. And I'm sure we weren't using the best techniques at first, but I guess that's how everybody starts, right?
All right, so let's come back to the techniques a little bit later. But uh, when you decided then to move from this company to start your own business, did you specifically pick hardscapes to get into because that's what you were drawn to, or right off the bat did you jump into that full turnkey outdoor living space company right away? What were you doing when you first started your own business? And I asked for myself because when I decided to take that leap, I went right away into the kind of low scale, low kind of budget, lift and relays, that sort of thing, and then scaled up from there. But what was your thought process starting your own business? Were you getting right away into that outdoor living space sort of thing?
Well, on a much smaller scale for sure. I probably took on maybe 2 to 3 landscaping jobs, and I knew that that wasn't what I wanted. I was more interested definitely in the hardscapes, and I got lucky and managed to snag one at my first year in business, and it honestly didn't go very well. The project came out awesome, but it was a bad a bad experience with the customer. But little by little, I just started pushing those jobs, and it was mostly pavers, small patios, residential, and what also helped me get jobs was my experience in pools. I was very knowledgeable there, so any lead that I had that had pools in it, I was on top of that, and that really expanded my, I guess, my territory as far as jobs.
coming back to where those leads, you talked about getting that first job and then going from there, where were those leads coming in when you first started? Were you just like hustling, trying to get as many leads as possible in the beginning? Did you have some sort of network that you were able to get leads from other companies just starting out? Or what was your major lead source when you were first starting out?
Man, I'm sure everybody's gonna laugh at me, but I used Thumbtack, which was kind of like a Home Advisor. I'm sure you know what Home Advisor is. And that I was able to get my reviews right there on that platform. They were a bunch of small jobs, but I got like I think I had like 15 or something within my first year. So that's really what helped me was all the reviews that I was able to get on there, and I paid for all those leads, obviously. And then I really just social media, man. Social media has been a big game changer for me.
And was that posting on social media? Was that running ads on social media? Were you using sort of Instagram as a portfolio for your clients to see to then kind of get that ball rolling? What specifically about social media?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I used it as my portfolio. And then from I've always been real techie, you could say. So from the get go, I remember I bought my drone, and I would always post drone shots, and I'd make like little edited videos, and man, people loved it, and it really I got a lot of leads from it.
Getting back into the techniques, because you brought that up, where did you get the education to be able to apply it in your business, separate from what you did at this pool company in terms of installation techniques? How did you get that kind of going?
So when we first started, when I as I was learning, we always did dense graded patios, with crusher run and sand. And I started seeing people online that were talking about this new open graded thing. I was like, man, what is that? So I just kept, following people along, seeing what they were doing and how they were doing it, and YouTube. And eventually, I got my own technique, which is basically the same way, but I just grabbed a little bit from everybody, and yeah, we switched over to open graded, probably after a year.
With open graded base, what made you kind of pull the trigger to get into it? Because starting with that pool company, learning dense grade base and everything, I feel like the easiest thing to do would be to transfer that over into your own business and go off that. What was it about hearing it from online sources and everything that made you decide to use it in your own business? And I'm just trying to draw from my own experience, because I started working at a stone yard, and right away they knew about open grade base. So that's kind of how I entered the industry and immediately kind of adapt that into my business. I'm just trying to because the easiest thing for you would have been to adapt that dense graded base from that pool company into your own business, because that's the way you knew it. What was it about open graded base that made you think, you know what, this is going to set me apart from the competition? This is, going to add value to my clients and such.
Yeah, I was early on. I'd always watch videos, especially from Techo Block. They had these great educational videos, and I also went to one of their showcases. And I remember Paver Pete was there, and he was showing, I guess, like a model. They had this clear glass, and you can see all the open graded base, and then the paver on top, and they had water all the way up to the bottom of the paver, and they were standing on it, and it just didn't budge, and I was sold there. I just just the how I guess the structure, the strength that comes with open graded bases superior, way far superior than dense graded.
Yeah, and that visual that just came to my mind there as well, and the Techo show there, really
did you ever see that?
Yeah, absolutely, and really just shows a testament to open graded base. And I've definitely seen it, become more and more popular and grow online since starting in this industry, and it makes total sense why. Now, getting back to the leads are coming into your business. What do you do once a client contacts you through whatever source they came from? How do you kind of approach that initial conversation, whether through email, phone call? What information are you trying to get out of them for their project right away?
Yeah, so that's definitely changed over the times. But right now where I'm at is as soon as I get a phone call, I try to get the basic information, but I usually send them over to my website. And on my website, I have a contact form. And on there, I basically can cut out a whole 30-minute conversation with questions that are on there. You know, their name, address, email, what sort of project are they interested in. I even ask for budgets that they're willing to spend. But I also even what I think that I'm including that most people don't is I have a way to upload files, and I ask for 3 pictures of their site, how it looks as is. Then there's another place to put inspiration pictures, and then another one for if they have floor plans or any architectural drawings of the home, just to make things a little bit easier for the designs and I guess the estimate. So I can cut out a big conversation by them just going onto my email on the website and filling this form out, and it gets sent right to my email, and then that's basically screening them and see if they're a right fit for us.
So, kind of backtracking there, initially you used Thumbtack to get these leads, and you grew your business from those initial jobs. Where are your leads coming from mostly now that you're able to send them to your website, fill out that form? Because that in itself is definitely a barrier that these clients you're almost pre-qualifying with set
Exactly.
making them send go to the website, fill out that form. But where are these leads coming from that you're finding are going through this process to get to that next step?
So now it's really, I'd say half and half is social media and Google. So
Amazing.
I run Google ads, and I just I put in all the demographic settings that you can do through there.
Yep.
That really helps. But really, it's a lot of social media.
Nice. And so once the client has gone through the steps to fill out that online form, you have that information. Do you then set up the initial consultation based on that information? Where does that go from there?
Yeah. So after they send that, I will. I guess I'll go. I'll look through it, make sure it's the right fit for us, and I tell them, hey, we have a on-site consultation fee. If they agree to that, I will send them a through QuickBooks. I'll get my payment through there, and we'll set up a time and date for me to go out. And yeah, then I'll show up on site, get all the elevations and measurements and stuff that I have, and with all the information that they provided from the get go, I come prepared with like pretty much all the information. I think I just need to plug in, I guess, real time numbers once I'm there, just to get some basic reference measurements, and I just plug those into my program, and I get a drone shot, and work off of like SketchUp.
I like that. So a couple of things I want to put out there. Yeah, you said you do charge for the initial consultation, and we've had contractors with a wide range of do not charge and do charge for the initial consultation on the show. I just want to know why you do charge for consultations. What's your thought process behind that?
So I charge a consultation fee because you're able to, I guess, weed out, screen the customers that are just shopping around, and honestly, it takes several hours of your time to get these consults out. You're driving there, you're spending an hour or two there with the customer, getting measurements. To get back home and type up a formal proposal, and this is several hours that it takes. So it's the least that you should do for yourself as a business owner and get paid for your time.
You've already got like two barriers to weed out these clients. You've got them having to actually spend the time to fill out a form and provide you with information through your website. You've got the initial consultation fee. Once you get to site, you're pretty much know that this is at least on paper, a client that fits your business. What are some red flags that may come up on that initial consultation that make you think, you know what, this is probably not a client that I'm going to service? Have you ever, gone through one of these initial consultations and thought right there and then that, you know what, this probably is not a client for me?
Yeah. One red flag always is when they say that they're getting, or that they've already had several quotes
Mhm.
and they're just looking for another one. And it's just kind of like, hey, what is it that you haven't found in these last quotes that you're looking for now? And that's a major red flag already from the start.
I like that question and how you phrase it there. It's yeah, it kind of gets to the meat of why they're still wanting your quote on top of that, because especially with the
Exactly.
work that you're doing, putting in that initial proposal, that quote is got to be a lot of work.
Exactly.
On top of that initial consultation, do you charge a design fee? Do all your jobs definitely have a design no matter what?
So on jobs that are fairly simple, I'll throw in a quick SketchUp 2D drawing and even render it in 3D just because it takes me. I got to the point where I can do them kind of quickly, and it just helps the customer visualize it. But on my bigger projects, definitely we charge a design fee, and we'll get that rendered out with the landscape plan, all just a nice professional presentation.
What kind of information has the client already provided all the information mostly that you need to be able to add any features that they want in the design through that website template, the form that they fill out, or are you asking them further questions when you're on site with them to kind of understand what you want to put in that design for them? And if you are, what kind of questions are you asking them to figure out their tastes, what features they want to see, and everything like that?
Yeah, so definitely, you can't get everything out of the form, but yeah, simple conversation with the customer as far as asking them how are they going to utilize the space. Sometimes, some people they don't host. They're not. It's just them and their spouse. The kids are gone, and then you have other families that host all the time, and they have a lot of large parties and gatherings, and that's a completely different design right there.
Yeah, definitely. And
Hmm.
that's going to affect your design completely. And
Exactly.
so that being said, when you do come to present that initial design, does your design package include any updates that they might want to put in based on what they see in that initial design, or how does that design package kind of work?
Yeah, so I try to present at least three different designs, like a basic,
Nice.
then a medium, and then the bougie one is what I call it, the deluxe. And I try to present all those so they can see what their space can really be. And then from there, whatever they pick, we give them a rough, budget of what that exact plan would cost, and then we can kind of play around with it there, and then we can add some features, take some features off from there. But yeah,
Mhm.
we definitely we'll fix it. We get it 100% right.
So budget is important when you're getting into the projects that you're putting out there. Does budget come up in the website form, or does budget come up in the initial consultation? When does understanding what the client's budget, when does that come up?
Oh, from the get go, as soon as
Yeah.
they fill out that form. So like, let's say they're filling out. There's multiple choice. There's a part that says it's multiple choice, and it basically says what are you trying to accomplish in your new space, and you can click like fire pit, pavers, pool, structures, whatever it may be. And then let's say that they click on the pool, and then their budget is like you know, let's say 30,000 or something. You already know that they're not the right one.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when it comes to presenting that design and signing up that client, what does your payment structure look like, especially with these larger projects? Where do these payment plans in your business, do they vary from project to project, or do you have like a specific payment plan that you put into structure for most of your projects?
Are you talking about for the design or for the whole project?
For the kind of like down payment, and then any progress payments, and then end payments.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So we get a 10% on signing the contract, and then we'll get at least another 40 before we get started, just to get the ball rolling, get all our material going, and then I break it up in progress payments. And I try not to leave any more than 10% for the final payment. Just there's some clients that just hold it over your head and try not to pay you because they got a punch list that's just out of this world.
Coming to what you just said there, I always ask everybody that comes on the show for a horror story? Because no matter how long you've been in business, there's got to be something that has maybe came up, whether with a client, maybe something that you dodged from a client, or maybe, something on the job site. But do you have a horror story that you'd want to share as a contractor with our audience?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so many. Gosh, I just my beginning years, man, just barely not charging properly. I remember one guy. I'm sure he was lying to me, but I was stupid enough to go for it. But he was like, "Yeah, well, there's another contractor that's gonna install the same, the same pavers, the same fire pit for, $500 or $1,000 cheaper." And I was quick to be like, "Oh, I'll do it for cheaper."
Right.
And doing the jobs, and that guy, man, he gave me a 1-star review at the end of that project, man,
Oh
and it was like
no.
one of the most beautiful projects I've ever done by myself. I was fairly new in the game, and gosh, man, I mean, there's just tons of those customers that I guess is just crazy.
Definitely, I can definitely feel for that and relate to that. With how you've grown your business, where are you at in terms of employees right now? Do you leverage subcontractors for these larger jobs, obviously with gas and electrical, but what how do you kind of structure your business right now in terms of how many employees, how many crews, and everything?
So that's so random for me, man. It's just sometimes I have just me and one guy, and I'll have up to 3 guys working for me. And right now I have 3 guys. One of them is really full time, and the other 2 are other subcontractors that are friends of mine that are trying to do their own thing as well. And when they're not busy, I give them the work to come out help me, and man, it works out.
Nice, man. And the things that you're doing, you'd think that you've got many people chipping in and being employees with you, but it's incredible the work that the scale of the projects that you're doing at the size right now that you are, which you know
Appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's motivational in and of itself, because I feel like a lot of people are working to get these larger scale projects and stretching themselves too thin in order to grow their business. And whether that means hiring a bunch of employees or buying a lot of equipment. Do you do you have a kind of philosophical thought process on kind of staying small, or have you tried to kind of grow and it's just difficult to get employees at this point? Where are you in terms of that?
So I don't think I want to turn into a huge company, man. I would love to do just maybe 10 to 12 projects a year, quality projects, and just keep the group small. That way the quality's still there. But I believe 100% investing in equipment, man. It's just as soon as I started investing in equipment, it was a complete game changer for me. We were able to do bigger projects faster, and the group of guys, more than anything, the people that I have helping me is just I have an incredible team. They don't get enough credit.
And since you brought up equipment, that's my next question. What equipment have you invested in that has been like a real game changer on the job site? Anything small all the way to bigger pieces of equipment. What is that for you that's been that big game changer for you?
Every single thing that I've bought has been a game changer, man. One of my first trailers was a dump trailer. That thing was a game changer. Then it was the tool trailer, having everything on site, crazy efficiency. And then I started getting to heavier equipment. I purchased a mini skid, and that did it kind of. It got the job done, but it wasn't able to move pallets. That was what was killing us, was pallets. Because we did a lot of travertine, man. So the way that travertine stack, you kind of have to like slide the pieces out. You can't take them out in layers like pavers. So we had to like slowly take apart the pallets and put it on our bucket and remove that. Man, it was crazy how long it took us to install those things. And once I got the bigger Bobcat, man, that's like having 5 guys working.
Was travertine something that you installed with your previous pool company when you worked for them, or is this something that clients have come to want more of, kind of request, or is this also something that you kind of sell the client on, going towards travertine as kind of that premium product?
Yeah, so I did a little bit of travertine while I was working in the pool company, but what it was that I got involved with a local pool contractor that has these great clients, huge pool jobs, and all their projects pretty much was travertine. So I was able to get in the door as you could say somebody exclusive out here that does a lot of travertine, and that's what my customers really ask for nowadays. And that's what I push for, is either travertine or like Techo Block.
Travertine looks gorgeous, and
Yeah,
seeing it on your projects, yeah, definitely a product that I myself want to get into as well. It looks incredible. And um, anything else in terms of products, tools, that you live by in your business that you'd still want to talk about here?
I think if there's one thing you should really invest in, is in yourself and education. Take the time to learn from other people. Mentorships, I mean, those things are great. I mean, I'm in a mastermind group with Imagine Design and Build, and it's been a game changer. More than tools, more than equipment, it's yourself, your mentality.
So let's get into that a little bit. How has that helped you? Have you seen a difference in the company that you were before kind of investing into yourself as opposed to now? Like, what was that progression? What was that mindset shift that you went on after kind of investing into yourself?
Well, yeah, man. Once I started really learning, I guess, the business and learning from others from these groups, I saw that, we're all going through the same struggles, man. We're all, no matter the size of the company, everybody goes through this stuff, and it's just, you gotta just push through, and it's not easy, but yeah, I've been able to learn so much, business wise, techniques, like installation techniques, how to approach customers, how to deal with bad customers, and everybody goes through it, and different people approach it differently. So it's just been awesome to see everybody's take on how they approach things.
And then going back to designs, where did you get where did you pick up on SketchUps and 3D rendering? Where did you get that education? Did that come as a process once you started your business? Did you kind of dabble in it when you first worked for the pool company? And how did that change the clients that you began to kind of serve?
Yeah, so I've always played around with it ever since I started my business. I never really pushed any kind of designs until now, just because the projects have gotten a little bit bigger. But um, I downloaded a program called Real Time Landscape Architect, and it just made it so easy to just knock these designs out. And then I just got really inspired by like Preston, Hardscape Design, how he does his SketchUp stuff, and that's what I just switched over to, because I love that program. It's just so much easier.
Definitely. And then getting into that, do you have any people that you'd want to shout out on this episode? You've mentioned a couple already, but anybody, whether it be in your network, whether it be online, offline, anybody that you draw inspiration from, look to, whatever it might be, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
I can go through a list.
This is the tricky part where you don't want to leave anybody off.
Exactly. I've been inspired by. See, I'm a small company, man. I try to make the Instagram and everything look like everything's huge and like a big old company, but I'm a small company, so I look up to people like Preston and like RC, Lily. They're all small companies, and they're knocking out these awesome projects, and it's all about the quality. And I look up to a lot of the bigger ones, but definitely the guys that are doing it on a smaller scale and still pumping out these great projects, and those are the guys that I really look up to for sure.
With how you kind of put your social media, how you brand your company and everything says a lot, because the way you present yourself as a big company, but I think a lot of people like dealing with smaller companies. You're the one on site, you're the one that they're dealing with, you're the salesperson, you're the design person. I think a
Exactly.
lot of people, a lot of clients prefer to work with a company like that. But also prefer the branding and the image of a larger company, which you kind of got the best of both worlds there with what you kind of branded yourself with your Instagram and in your online presence there.
Yeah, for sure. Branding has 100%, man. I'm trying to, push that out there so people start recognizing it. But they definitely see once I'm out there, I'm the one they talk to. I'm the one they call. I'm the one that's on site installing. I am owner operator. I work as much as I can. When I do have the help, I'm able to be off site more, but I am mostly there, and the customers love that. Just the personal touch and the communication. And everything. And my group of guys, man, they're awesome.
Chris, what's next for Morales Outdoor Living? What's the next step? What's the goals moving forward?
I'd like to get into commercial property event centers and that are completely designed and installed by us. And I get that inspiration from Jack Kelly from Imagine, how he has his Imagine Acres and the Imagine Peace Park. I don't know if you looked into that. That's something that I really want to do.
I have one last question for you as we wrap things up here. And it is a big one. It's a question that I ask every contractor that comes on the show here. And that is, what is one thing you know now that you wish you knew from the very start when you first started your company?
It's not, man, because from the very beginning, man, I invested into in those mentorship groups, and I was learning from all these great guys that have struggled and went through all the mistakes and failures, and we're putting it out there. So, man, I was lucky to have been put myself in that situation.
So then what's the biggest thing you've learned from your biggest takeaway from these mentorship groups that you're in? Because you're obviously doing a lot right? Like, you got your branding's on point, it's clean, it communicates exactly what you want.
That's it. You hit it on the head right there, man. It's my branding. Branding for sure is what I have grabbed from Jack more than anything. He does it so cleanly, and I've been able to I rebranded my company in 2020 based off of all his, just the way he does things. And I try to make it cleaner, just like you said. I try to make it look more towards an outdoor living just company. And yeah, that's the biggest thing was branding and how I push my content out. And yeah, it's been the best thing for me.
That's a great way to end that right there. Branding's so important to any business, but especially contracting, to kind of convey the clientele, the clients that you want to reach out to, that you want attracted to your business. Have you seen a big change in the clients that are starting to reach out to you through Instagram because of the way you're communicating with your photos, with the content that you're putting out, and with the brand image and everything?
Oh, 100%. I definitely have customers now that are looking for a Morales job now. They're not wanting to shop around. They want a job done by us. They want the style that we provide, the travertine, the clean look, and I'm able to kind of almost name my price at this point. I don't compete with anybody else. I just charge what I need to charge, and the customer almost always agrees with the price. It almost makes me feel like I need to start charging more.
That is incredible, man. Yeah, charging more. Going off that, what you just said there, there's a quote that I really like is, what is it? Closing rate and being able to, and your price. If your closing rate is too low, is your price too high? I'm bumbling that up right there. But
I think if you're closing every single job, that means your price is way too low.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. You nailed it on the head right there for me. That's awesome. Chris, thank you so much for joining us. Where can our audience go to find out more about you, what you've got going on, and to check out more of your projects and everything that you're doing there?
Definitely on Instagram is where I'm pushing my content the hardest, and you can find that at Morales Outdoor Living.
Incredible, Chris. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. Visit us again at members.howtohardscape.com for more information on our members only platform and to see all the content that we've got coming out in this year for that platform. And we look forward to meeting with you next week on the How to Hardscape podcast.